Welcome back. So today I want to talk to you about insurance, health insurance specifically. How I kind of thought, I have a lot of expertise in this area, and I'm going to just share with you some of my ideas, my thoughts, to try and help guide you through some of this process. If you're interested, we all have it. Most people I find don't even understand a lot about it. So I'm going to give you a little tutorial. And how this all started was I used a midwife for my children when I had them. Okay, so my first was at a birthing center, and after having a birth center birth, I decided there was no reason not to be at home. So my second, I did at home with a midwife. And one day I'll get into those two birth stories. They're pretty fantastic. But so I did it that way, and I just, the kind of person I am is that's me. You do you, I do me. I'm fine if you have a baby at a hospital, and I was great having a baby at home. I was informed. I knew all the risks, just as you should know all the risks being in a hospital, so we decided that that was the best for us. So we went for it. And and I just think that we all are entitled to our own opinions. Okay, so after having the babies, I saw the ineptness, the unfairness, the non-sticking with the contract that these insurance companies did. So I fought them. I did not give up. I was persistent and kept on until I finally figured out how to fight them the best way, and I won, and I was reimbursed for both of the births. So I had a few midwives come to me and say, you would be very helpful to people to share your knowledge and help them guide them on doing the same thing. And because one, I'm a fighter, I like to be an advocate, and I believe in home birth and midwifery care. And I think if it's right for somebody, then they should have that, especially when it's covered by their insurance. It just seems that's just natural and it's okay. And if they want to do it that way, then I should try and make it easier for them, or I want to make it easier for them, because usually the insurance companies makes it very hard. So that's how I got started, and that was about 14 years ago. And so I feel like I have lots of experience, lots of things to share with you. Before I really get into this, I kind of want you to know that as I'm speaking, I'm just being me, right? I'm going to just be who I am. I just say it. Now, there will be times I say facts, okay? And then there's going to be times where I express my opinion. Now, again, I believe I am entitled to have my opinion. I'm not the person that thinks that we should all be the same and think the same. So for example, if I say to you, your insurance companies, I believe are related to the devil, that's my opinion. That is not a fact, okay? So let's just get into this. All right, so there's different kinds of insurance companies out there. First, let's talk about the government ones, okay? So we have the government who handles our veterans, our serving military, our military who is no longer serving, like the TRICARE, the CHAMP, the VA. Now, my opinions on that is, one, we need to do way better taking care of those that have served. For God's sakes, they risked everything. Their families sacrificed. Everyone sacrificed. And sometimes their lives. And we don't take better care. And that to me is shameful. The other thing I would say about them is those companies is, well, it's actually the government. It's the government. So lots of red tape. It's not easy. The wait time for anything is extremely long. It does not make any sense. They pay the providers that are in network and usually require you to see somebody in network. They don't pay them very much. And so they have to see a lot more patients or clients just to make a decent living. So you're competing with a lot of appointments, doctors who feel rushed. It's very difficult. It's not a good system, in my opinion. Okay, now you have Kaiser. So now Kaiser is very, in my opinion, great with preventative. I think if you're a healthy person, they will try their very best to keep you healthy and prevent certain illnesses. The problem with Kaiser, I think, is once you go from healthy to not healthy, especially if you have a serious illness. So I think if you feel that you're kind of a healthy person, it might be a good choice. But if you have a lot of history or if you think something's going on, I'm not sure. I think that they really deny often additional testing. They make it more difficult for you. That's what I think. Okay, then we have like the Medi-Share. So Medi-Share is kind of something that people haven't really heard a lot about. And it's, you're pooling all your money together, all the participants, and then as a group, you are paying out to share in the cost of people's healthcare. So it's not health insurance, but it's similar, right? And so there's a lot of Christian-based Medi-Share programs. And you would think that sounds wonderful. And maybe it is, I don't know. But my problems probably is with them as some of their policies. So again, it's a private company, so, I feel like you do you. You go, if you want that policy, that's on you. It's on me to say, no, thank you, or yeah, sign me up. My choice. They're setting their own rules, right? I just don't happen to agree with some of those rules. And these are some of the ones I find interesting. Like, they don't usually cover birth control. They require that the woman be married in order to receive maternity benefits. And I just find that interesting, coming from a bunch of Christians who, are supposed to forgive each other's sins, if that's actually a sin, Some people may think that is, some people may think they're not. That's on you. And I just don't really agree with that. And then there are, way back when, and I remember this, but I can't say for sure, but they would deny, even if you had the baby and you weren't married at that time, which became an issue when husbands died. And then they said, sorry, you weren't married when you had that baby. We're not covering you. I just don't agree with that, so that's why I don't sign up with them. Okay, then there's these other companies, like your Blue Shield, your Aetna, Cigna, United Healthcare. In California, we have Anthem, Blue Cross, because we have Blue Shield and we have Blue Cross. And those are like the ones that you would probably typically see offered from your work, or maybe with like a government program such as like Covered California. I forgot to mention one, HealthNet. So these are those kind of companies, right? And so my opinion of those are, they're all related, like I said, to the devil. They are all awful, some less than others. They don't care about you. That is my opinion, okay? They say, like, if you call and you're on hold, which you will be, they say how much they care about your health. Okay, I'm going to tell you something, please. They don't. They care about the money. They care about the bottom line. It's not true. How can that be true? They don't, and they certainly don't show that they care about you. So think of it that way. They say they do, but their actions show otherwise. So which one is the closest related to the devil? And I'm trying to think if I want to say who I think is the best. I'm going to think about that. But for the worst, I will tell you, and it's HealthNet. They are going to deny and make it so hard for you. In my opinion, I have seen in the past 14 years this on and on and on and on and on. They will deny for baseless reasons. And they just are looking for you just to give up. So my advice, if you have HealthNet, is just go into it knowing you're going to probably have to fight a bit. And don't give up, because that's what they're looking for you to do. Okay, so now you have the companies, right? Now you got to pick a plan. So there's a PPO plan. Now a PPO plan is going to cost you the most, but it is more flexible. So, and what do I mean by that? Okay, so with a PPO, you can have an in-network doctor or an out-of-network doctor. You can go to both. You aren't going to get denied for seeing an out-of-network person. You do not need referrals to see either an out-of-network person or a specialist. You don't. You just go. Go. Now, if you use an out-of-network person, your out-of-pocket costs are going to be higher. And this is why. Your in-network doctor or your services are going to have one deductible, more than likely. Okay, sometimes they share deductibles, but more than likely your in-network doctors and services have one deductible. Out-of-network, that has an entirely different deductible, and it will be higher than your in-network deductible. So What is a deductible? It is a set amount, an amount of money that you have to meet before your insurance kicks in. So if you have a $2,000 out-of-network deductible, you have to reach $2,000 before your out-of-network benefits kick in, before they reimburse you or the doctor. The catch is, and this is what they're not going to tell you, is there is something called an allowed amount, reasonable and customary. So with the PPO doctor, you don't have to worry about it, right? The in-network doctor, you don't have to worry about an allowed amount because the doctor has agreed in order to be part of their network to this allowed amount. So they might charge $400, right, to see you. But they've already agreed to $100. So the insurance reimburses the $100 or you have to pay for it too, the cost share. And that other $300, that gets written off because they've agreed to that $100. Now, an out-of-network doctor does not have that agreement in place. So if a doctor were to charge you $400 and they are not in the network, okay, the insurance is going to come back and say, okay, $400 was the charged amount. However, we only allow $100. So you are now responsible for that difference. You're responsible between the $100 and $400 because you have used an out-of-network doctor. And that is basically your penalty in their eyes. Well, you didn't use an in-network person. You're going to have to pay that difference. Okay, so let's just say again, you have that $2,000 deductible and you see a doctor for $400 and they only allow $100, the insurance company. So it's $2,000 deductible minus $100 for the allowed amount for that visit. So now you are at $1,900. $1,900 is your new amount that you are needing to meet in order to have insurance benefits. Okay? So that is kind of a PPO plan. You really have more control over your healthcare. If you want to see someone who you think is a better fit for you or a specialist who is going to cure you from whatever, and they are not in network, you can see them and still be reimbursed. That's the beauty of a PPO plan. Just know you're going to be paying more. HMO. Okay, so an HMO, you cannot see an out-of-network person. If there's an emergency and you go to the hospital and they're not in network, they'll reimburse for the hospital services, but the doctors can still bill you. You have a primary doctor who you go to for everything, and if they see fit and they agree, they will refer you out to a specialist in that same network. Okay? And they are actually incentivized to not refer out. I'm not saying all out-of-network doctors do this because there are some great ones, but so what happens is with an HMO, the doctors actually don't get paid to see you for each visit. For every person that signs up with that practice, the HMO gives them sort of a payment, like a stipend each month, because they're kind of holding your chart, right? So the less they do, the more they make. And what happens if they refer out, they could be subject to some of that money each month be taken out for the patient being referred to a specialty. So sometimes it's not easy, one, even getting in with an HMO doctor, and then two, getting an authorization to go to a specialist approved. Okay, so that's the hard part with HMO. You're really stuck into what you pick for your doctor and who they are and the relationship and that kind of thing. But you know what? You're paying a lot less, more than likely. Okay, so an EPO. Now, an EPO is similar to both. You can see a specialist without going to your primary doctor, and you don't need to get a referral. You just go, but you have to stay in network. You cannot go out of network. So you're just hoping that the specialist you want takes that insurance in that EPO plan. Otherwise, you're going to get denied. There's a lot of catastrophic plans now. And what a catastrophic plan is you have very low premiums. So you're not paying a lot per month, which is fantastic, right? The catch is if you ever need it, it's there, but the problem is like the minor things. So if you go to the ER, you're going to pay for it. fully. Your deductible is so high. It's you're only going to use it if something, God forbid, really bad happens. So that's just how you have to look at it. If it's you're covered for something really bad. And something a lot of people tell me a lot is this out-of-pocket maximum. Okay, so that is different. I want to just explain to you that. An out-of-pocket maximum is the most you're going to pay in a year. But that does not count with your allowed amounts. Okay, so if that 400, 100, only $100 is going towards that out-of-pocket maximum, okay? That 100, and then, any deductible amounts you've paid, any co-pays, that will go towards that, but nothing else. So that's different than your deductible. Something I like to encourage is, you can always appeal and fight and file a grievance with your insurance company. There will be links, forms, and if you need to, do it, because I think that they are banking on that you're not going to. They don't want to pay out, okay? And they are just hoping sometimes that you just don't fight it. And because they make it really hard, and you are on the phone a lot, and it really honestly sucks. But if it's worth it, I would do it. I would do it in a heartbeat. What am I always, when you're calling, get a call reference number. At the end of the call, ask for a call reference number, because that makes sure they're logging that call. Secondly, anything you can do up front before the actual event, do. Get an approval, get something in writing, have them send you to. Like for home birth and midwifery, I always tell people, if you want to get an exception made or something approved, do it before the baby. They will not do it retroactively. And speaking of that, for home birth and midwifery, just so you know, you can ask for, and there's other services too this would apply to. It's called either a gap exception or an in-network exception. And what that does is that basically takes that out-of-network person and treats them as in-network for that one time. So you get to use your in-network benefits, which are better. So yeah, let's see. And I guess I'm going to tell you who I think is the best out of all the insurance companies, but it kind of sucks for anyone that's out of Washington, the state of Washington. Premera Blue Cross, I think, is the best. But they're out of Washington, so I can't use them, and, no one else outside of Washington state can. So it really is not very helpful, but they are the ones I think is the best. And I wish these other plans would speak to them to learn how to do it right. Because otherwise, it's just the lesser of which evil, and, that's a lot of what we're dealing with nowadays, I think, right? Anyway, that is just a lot of tips and some background and some information. I hope some of it's helpful to you. Please, if you have any questions about this, put it in the comments. I'll answer you. I will give you my 2 cents on this and my thoughts and my expertise and my ideas. I would love to help you. Subscribe, like, comment. I would love it. Thanks.